Because I feel sorry for you, I came up with a great idea. A great idea. Yes. Just look at me, okay? Angela, clad in a wedding dress, slowly took a microphone from a staff. Unexpectedly, she started speaking to the guests in the venue. My sister is older and less educated, but would anyone like to get married to her? Angela looked at me, grinning triumphantly. But she hadn't realized yet. She hadn't realized the terrible blunder she had just made. Gradually, people in the venue began to buzz, and cold glances were directed at Angela. Angela didn't even notice that, and she gripped the microphone once again. Come on, sis, you have to be proactive. There are plenty of doctors here, you know. You're done. Huh. Shortly after, a bombshell dropped on Angela. My name is Ruth, 29 years old. Just an ordinary working woman who you'd find anywhere. There is one thing that makes me stand out, though. I became a lawyer after only graduating middle school. I have a younger sister who is 2 years younger than me. My sister, Angela, is attractive and charming and has always been adored by our family. In contrast, I have an average face and body and am not particularly charming. Being seen as a less endearing child, I was treated coldly by family and relatives. Despite working harder than anyone else at studying, I was no match for Angela's charm. My parents only doted on Angela and didn't even care about me. While it was painful at first, I couldn't worry about it forever. Having given up on being loved by my parents, I devoted myself more to studying. Studying never betrayed me. The more effort I put in, the more the results would show in a tangible form. Through achieving success in my studies, I thought there might be a chance my parents would praise me one day. With such faint hope, I worked hard on my studies. Throughout middle school, I consistently topped the exams. Yet, for the 9 years from the time I entered elementary school until I graduated from middle school, not once did my parents praise me. My father and mother threw these words at me. Rankings don't matter if your grades aren't good. That's right, you only got A, not A+, for science. But this exam was really difficult. Can't you do anything but make excuses? It's because you're not working hard enough. You're really a disagreeable child. Don't show me your report card unless it's A+. I'm sorry. No matter how hard I worked, my parents would not acknowledge me. They would blame me for not getting A+. However, what saddened me most was not being looked down upon by my parents. It was the words from Angela, after being severely scolded by my father and mother. Sis, did you get scolded again? Without knocking, Angela walked into my room, picked up my report card from my desk, and snickered. Even though your grades are so good, you got scolded. That's too bad, sis. They praise me just for not failing any subjects. Did you come here just to say that? I was worried about you because you might be upset, so I came to check on you. But I'm upset at the way you're talking to me. Worried? If you were really worried about me, you wouldn't say things like that. See, that's the thing. Because you're so unfriendly, that's why Mom and Dad don't love you. With a contemptuous look, Angela left the room. Right after that, I could hear Angela laughing with my parents in the living room. I should be used to this by now, but tears welled up in my eyes. I decided not to rely on my parents, not to take Angela's words to heart. Before I knew it, I was clenching my report card. I decided to study hard, get a job soon, and leave this house. To do that, I would give my all to everything I can do right now. With this in mind, I became even more committed to my studies. Then, in the fall of my 9th grade, my father told me something shocking. Ruth, you'll have to work instead of going to high school, okay? What? Wait, Dad, what are you saying? Isn't it obvious? It's a waste to spend money on you. If you want to go to high school, earn your own money. That's impossible. I'm still in middle school. I can't even get a part-time job. Then give it up. After discussing it with your mom, we decided to spend money only for Angela. So, we don't have any money to spend on you. No way. I felt absolutely hopeless. Looking at me standing frozen, my mother and sister smirked. As an adult, I know now. There were ways to attend high school, like finding scholarships or tuition waivers. But at that time, I didn't have that knowledge, and I was crushed by the fact that I can't go to high school. From that day, I lost the motivation to study. My homeroom teacher told me it would be a shame not to go to high school with those grades. But because my parents firmly refused to let me go to high school, I gave up on further education and started working at a factory right after graduation. Since I was too young to live alone, I worked hard until I turned 18. I was going to leave my home as soon as I turned 18. My parents demanded me to pay living expenses, so I gave half of my salary to them. I saved the remaining salary without spending it and endured those painful 3 years. On the day I turned 18, I left my home. I left a note and proudly left that house where there were only bad memories. Ironically, my parents and Angela never contacted me. They hadn't sent me even a single message. At first, I felt sad, but as I spent busy days at work, I started to care less about my family. Moreover, surprisingly, perhaps because the stress was gone after leaving my home, I started to feel more at ease. That's when I decided to try studying, which I used to enjoy again. I had been away from studying for 3 years, so I started from reviewing, but the memory of enjoying studying purely in the past came back, and I was able to enjoy studying. I started reading high school textbooks and also developed a habit of reading a lot of books and eventually became interested in law. As I read books about law, I started to aspire to be a lawyer. But I only completed middle school. Getting elite jobs, like a lawyer, was a distant dream. While pondering this, I found out that even a middle school graduate could sit for the bar exam if they passed a preliminary exam. Since then, I began studying harder than ever before. Not just at home, but also during breaks at work, I would open my reference books and learn legal jargon while eating my lunch. Luckily, all my co-workers were older than me, mostly people of my parents' age. They all encouraged me. At the age of 23, I passed the bar exam. I then began working at a law firm, resigning from the factory I had been working at. After 4 years of work at the law firm, I finally started my own practice 2 years ago. Today, I work as a consultant lawyer for a hospital, living a fulfilling life. But sometimes I can't help but wonder, would my parents be proud of me if I told them I'm a lawyer now? Maybe they would finally approve of me. Such farts weren't entirely absent, yet I never got in touch with my parents. I thought I probably wouldn't in the future either. But the day of reunion came sooner than I expected. When I got home from work, I saw a message from Angela saying she was getting married. I had not heard from my family since I left home at 18, so I had to do a double take. Angela, getting married. Angela, now 27, was apparently going to marry a doctor. The message said there would be a wedding ceremony next month, and I was invited. I was hesitant about meeting Angela and my parents after all this time, but I didn't want to miss my family's wedding without a reason, so I replied to Angela that I would attend. Afterwards, I only received the date and location from Angela. At the end of her message, she had thoughtfully added, "Don't forget to bring some gifts for me, okay?" I guessed Angela wanted me to come just to get some gifts. She must have thought that it was a good idea to get some gifts from me because she wouldn't need to give me a gift in return in the future. I resolved that after this reunion at the wedding, I would never meet my family again. With that firm resolve, I went to Angela's wedding. The day of Angela's wedding a month later, I wore a blue party dress and headed to the wedding reception. After I checked in and took a seat in the family area, I could see my mom and dad were already there. They looked at me, chuckled, and said, "You've got some nerve showing up here. With your low income from working in a factory." Absolutely. It's embarrassing to introduce you as part of the family. Angela shouldn't have invited you. I told her so, but she said she just wanted to get some gifts from you. Even though I was right there, I wondered, how could they carry on such a conversation so nonchalantly? If I express my current situation, perhaps our relationship could be repaired a little. Such a faint expectation I held towards my parents swiftly crumbled away. Without speaking with them, I simply took my seat. When I looked around, I recognized a few faces seated on the groom's side. Wait, isn't he? And the one next to him, I feel like I've seen her before. Could it be? When I searched for the groom's name, the results were just as I had expected. What a coincidence. However, the most important thing today was to get through the wedding without causing a scene. Alone, I somehow managed to calm my heart. The bride and groom made their entrance, the guests gave their speeches, and the wedding went on. Finally, it was time for the meal and photo session. My parents left their seats and headed over to the newlyweds. They clung to Angela, smiling from ear to ear as they took many photos. Ignoring such scenes, I silently continued eating my meal. Then, unexpectedly, Angela came over to me. "Hey sis, it's been a while. Are you having fun?" "Yeah. The food is really good. I know you're a factory worker and don't make much, so you don't get to eat such delicious food normally, right? You should be thankful, haha." "Did you get upset? Sorry, but it's true, right? You must be so jealous that I'm getting married to a doctor." I thought she didn't feel sorry for me at all. As I deliberately ignored Angela, she whispered into my ear, "Because I feel sorry for you, I came up with a great idea." A great idea. Yes. Just look at me, okay? Angela, clad in a wedding dress, slowly took a microphone from a staff. Unexpectedly, she started speaking to the guests in the venue. "My sister is older and less educated, but would anyone like to get married to her?" "What are you saying? She's also broke with no income. Would anyone be kind enough to marry her, haga?" Angela looked at me, grinning triumphantly. Even my parents started to join the mockery, saying, "Please do her a favor." That was the moment. I couldn't hold it anymore. Why do you keep making fun of me? How could they say such things, especially at a celebration like this? It's unbelievable. I'll show them reality then. Gradually, people in the venue began to buzz, and cold glances were directed at Angela. Angela didn't even notice that, and she gripped the microphone once again. "Come on, sis, you have to be proactive. There are plenty of doctors here, you know." "You're done." "Huh. You'll understand soon. You'll realize how terrible a mistake you've made." "What are you talking about? I did it for you." Just as Angela was speaking, wait a minute. What do you mean you're leaving?" Suddenly, the groom's voice echoed through the venue. Looking towards the sound, all of the groom's colleagues were getting up from their seats. A man, who appeared to be the hospital director, sternly spoke to the groom. "Your bride's comments made me very uncomfortable. I'm sorry, but we're leaving now." "Wait a minute. I understand her comments were inappropriate. I'll have a talk with her about it." "That's not the point. Don't you know who her older sister is?" "Huh. No, I only met her today, and Angela just told me she was a middle school graduate working in a factory." "Don't joke around. Her older sister is a distinguished lawyer. And moreover, she's the consultant lawyer for our hospital." "What? The hospital's consultant lawyer?" Not only the groom, but also Angela and my parents were at a loss for words. "The hospital I work with as a consultant lawyer is where the groom works." I thought the faces of the groom's guests looked familiar. I had met them several times before. They probably recognized me as well. The hospital director got angry because of Angela's insensitive comments. As the groom is just one of the doctors in the hospital, he has no direct connection to me. However, for the director and others, a consultant lawyer is a pretty important figure. Sensing this, the groom, with a red face, yelled at Angela, "Hey! What have you done? You've ruined my reputation because of your comments." "No, I didn't mean to do that. I didn't know that Ruth became a lawyer." It's not something you can get away with just by saying you didn't know. And to say such a thing to your sister, that's very mean. I'm disappointed in you. Please wait, there are reasons for this. I don't want to hear any excuses. Let's pretend this marriage proposal never happened. No way. Angela turned pale and collapsed to her knees. The groom left the venue angrily, along with the guests. I also stood up, intending to leave, and I heard Angela shouting from behind, "Please do something, sis." I said sternly to her, "Do something? Why should I? You brought all this upon yourself. Don't play the victim just because your attempt to make people laugh backfired. It's disgusting." "What? Why would you say something like that? I didn't do that if you had told me that you became a lawyer." "Why would I need to tell you? You never contacted me at all." I was planning to cut ties with you after this wedding. It was nice that I got to see your miserable face at the end. It's a pity you lost your doctor husband. Good luck finding the next one." Leaving those words behind, I left the venue. I could faintly hear the voices of the guests criticizing Angela and my parents. Sure enough, Angela's marriage was called off. It seemed my parents, who thought their future would be secure if Angela married a doctor, were furious with her for the first time over this incident. Having never been scolded before, Angela seemed to have been broken by this and had been seeking help from me, but of course, I ignored her. I didn't answer any of the phone calls from her and deleted all family contacts. Angela, who had already quit her job on marriage, is now completely unemployed. Her relationship with her parents has also deteriorated, and she's been shut up in her room every day. As for me, I'm living stable and fulfilling days. Both my work and private life are going well, and I'm able to live without major complaints. I might not have been blessed with a good family, but I've been blessed with my work and the people around me. This is all the result of my hard work. There were tough days, but I'm glad I worked hard. I acknowledge my own efforts and want to live my life comfortably from now on.